Today, on the Bird Movie Guy looks like Seven Samurai. Oh, it's classic those days. Oh yeah. You don't get much more classic than Seven Samurai. Let's get to it. Brought to you by the Bird Movie Guy. Hi, the Bird Movie Guy, and today on Classic Tuesdays, I'm talking about Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai is one of my favorite films ever, made by one of the best filmmakers ever, Akira Kurosawa. Oh my lord, I love this guy's films. Now, here's some things. I gotta kind of warn you if you've never seen Seven Samurai. It's not a fast movie, and it actually is like 3.5 hours long. And it's in Japanese. Okay, so if you know nothing about this, you're just like, okay, here's some things up front. It's in Japanese, it's in black and white. So unless you speak Japanese, you're gonna need subtitles. I don't speak Japanese, I wish I did, but I don't. But assuming you're okay with all those things, and even if you're not, try your best, because it's so worth watching. Seven Samurai is one of the greatest films ever made. It tells an incredible story about a small village that's going to be attacked by bandits later in the year when their harvest comes in. And they decide the best thing they can do is go get some warriors to try and fight for them. And all they can do is offer them food. And so it's not like you're going to be getting the best of the best, strongest army warriors, because they would get paid money. And so they happen to find one guy who, out of honor, will do this, and he kind of gets a bunch of other people because of him that they're like, okay, fine, I got nothing else to do. Let's go do this. And it is freaking awesome. Now, if you're like, this sounds a bit familiar, that's because this has been turned into several movies. And one of which is just about to come out right now in theaters, or it may be out if you're watching this already. It's called Magnificent Seven. Now, Magnificent Seven is a remake of another movie called Magnificent Seven, because that was a remake of Seven Samurai. So, Seven Samurai got Magnificent Seven, which got, if you are paying attention to film, A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life is an animated version of Seven Samurai. Think about it, it would make perfect sense. And then you get the new Magnificent Seven. Now, the new one doesn't look like it follows the story of, it follows the bare bones story of Seven Samurai. But that doesn't matter. I'm not talking about that right now. What I'm talking about is Seven Samurai. And Seven Samurai is, quite frankly, one of the greatest movies ever made. I've said it before, in this review even. I'll say it again. It is so great. Now, some of the acting in this is phenomenal. And I mean phenomenal. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole cast because I'll butcher their names. I will, because I can't speak Japanese. But I'm going to talk about a few of them. You got Toshiro Mifune, who's one of Kurosawa's very favorite actors. He used him in a bunch of his movies, and he's just a legend in Japanese cinema. He plays this guy who's kind of a fool, but kind of not, and is deeper than you think he is, but he's an idiot sometimes, and he's just the most fun character, possibly in film history. I don't know, he'd be up there. For a guy who, 1 minute is yelling at people, and the next minute is telling them off, and all serious, and the next minute yelling at them again, and making like he's a clown. Toshiro Mifune played him to just perfection. And, I've seen Toshiro Mifune do serious drama type stuff, but here, he goes dark, and then he goes so light and silly, and it's just, it wouldn't work with most people, but it works for him because it's just part of his character. Next person I want to talk about is Takashi Shimura. He was another one of Kurosawa's very favorite actors. He used him many, many times. He's the main samurai. He's the leader of the bunch, and it's just, he pulls this role off so well. He plays a character that's incredibly just talented and powerful, yet calm and peaceful so much of the time. And just, willing to put up with so much just to be able to help out and do what's necessary. It's incredible. And the last person I'm going to talk about is Isoa Kimura. I'm probably saying his first name wrong, and I'm sorry if I did. He plays a protege, kind of Shimura's character, that he is a samurai, or wants to be a samurai, or is in training to be a samurai, and he kind of latches on to him saying, you know what you're doing. I want to be your student. It's raining. So this is the three main. Then you have the farmers. I don't know any of their names, and I'm not going to pick them up, and I'd probably say their names wrong. Even though, the story of the farmers, basically, there's some really good acting there too, and it's all about the fact they can't defend themselves, and they want these samurai to help, but at the same time, they kind of are underhanded about some of the things they've done, because they've done some bad things, which I'll let you watch the film and see. They're not as innocent as they claim to be, and this is just a story about redemption on a lot of levels. It's about courage. It's about honor. It's about just doing the right thing. And it's so well made. Oh man. Kurosawa, like, his stuff is so good. It's hard for me to break it down because I'm not technically good at breaking down film enough. I've watched things that break it down and I'm just like, wow, I've never noticed that. Like, I know it's brilliant on a lot of levels, and I'll be honest, I'm not smart enough to fully understand why it's as brilliant as it is. I can accept that it's brilliant, and my mind can't fully comprehend how, like, they'll point out things and I'm like, wow, I never realized that. And it's just like he uses movement a lot in his film. If you look in the background, there's always stuff moving, and it keeps the film, like, the scene fluid, and like, it's just all these things he does. I'll put a video in the description talking about that by a guy named Every Frame Painting. He's an awesome YouTuber. Check him out, and check out this video about Seven Samurai. He'll show you why he's way smarter than I can tell you. It's just, there's something about his filmmaking that's just so great that I can't even explain it to you. Seven Samurai is a masterpiece. It goes without saying, it's 5 beards out of 5. It's one of my favorite films. It's not an easy film to watch, I'll be honest, because it is so long, and I kind of have to gear myself up to watch it sometimes. But I've watched it, like, I think 4 times now, and every time I watch it, it just does something to me. I just enjoy it so much, and I just showed it to my daughters. I showed them that, and then I showed them Magnificent Seven, the remake, which is a Western, which is way easier to watch because it's shorter, and it's a Western, and they don't do any of, like, a lot of the cool honor stuff that, like, it's a bare bones story retelling of this, and I'll get to a review of that in the next couple of weeks. But it's just, there's something about Seven Samurai and Kurosawa and just the way he makes movies. It's just magical, and it's art. It's film. Like, movies, he makes movies. No, he makes film. He makes art. He makes cinema. I can't explain it. I'm just gonna say I love it. And I highly recommend checking it out if you love movies. It's worth the subtitles. It's worth the time. It's worth your effort. It's just brilliant. So, there you go. Seven Samurai. That's what I think about it, because it's awesome. Tell me what you think about it. Have you ever seen it? Are you willing to watch it? Have you seen any of the remakes, or are you going to see the new one? And I highly recommend watching it. Especially if you've seen the Western one, because the Western one, it has some very fun moments that are callbacks to it, but it's like a dim reflection of it. It's not nearly as good in any way, but it's still good. It's just not, it's copying a master. It's not the master. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Till next time, stay bearded. You're watching the Bearded Movie Guy talk about Seven Samurai. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Watch it. Love it. Oh yeah. Alright, I got nothing else. Subscribe and tell your friends. And as always, YouTube's everything.